Welcome to the $6 Million Dental Practice Podcast. Today, I will be sharing with you the first 5 of 9 keys to grow your practice to $6 million. Key number 1, growth mindset and health. This key serves as the starting point for dental practice owners seeking growth in their practices, as well as their personal lives. I have personally experienced success by focusing on my mindset and health. Similarly, I have observed this transformation amongst other doctors, some of whom have worked with me, and these doctors have applied it in their practices and their lives with great success. The correct mindset is pivotal to your success and attainment of this goal. If your mindset isn't where it should be, you will not succeed. There really are no exceptions. Mindset is not negotiable. So the 3 questions that you want to ask yourself to determine if you're in the right track or not. Number 1, do I expect to hit my goals? Number 2, do I embrace failure as a stepping stone to success? And number 3, do I have a growth mindset? If you answer no to any of these, you have to start working on your mindset. I wouldn't bother trying to do the subsequent steps of these 9 keys because it will lead you down to a path of challenges, misery, and likely failure. You have to start with the mindset. When I embarked on this journey, it started with me joining Scheduling Institute and taking workshops. Fundamentally, these workshops began to change and transform my mindset. That was the catalyst and starting point for my growth. What triggered this change was the introduction to the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. This book is truly foundational to establishing the belief and the expectation that you will achieve your goals. What's super important is that whatever you believe will become your reality. If you change your beliefs to something that helps you rather than hinders you, then you will achieve great success. I would suggest that you read the book and train your mind. One other factor to keep in mind is that most people live their lives, and in fact, they pride themselves on not making mistakes. This mindset absolutely diminishes your results. You cannot shy away from pushing yourself and doing things that may lead to failure. Otherwise, you will lead an impoverished life. Be okay with failure. In fact, go beyond that. Embrace failure and recognize it for what it is. It is the stepping stone to success. It's also important to have an investment mindset. An investment mindset is one where you're willing to invest your time and money to get a return at a later date. You must be willing to invest in your practice to get the return later. Don't wait for growth or new patients before investing. It simply doesn't work that way. You invest first, then you get the return. That is essentially how it works. Now, I'm going to touch a little bit about health. Maintaining your health is a critical part of achieving your goals. Poor health leads to reduced energy, reduced motivation, and results in subpar performance. It also ultimately makes life less enjoyable, reduces your lifespan, and increases your morbidity. What that means is that later in life, you won't be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I mean, why set big goals and achieve a high net worth and income if you can't enjoy it to its fullest? There are 5 key components to health. Number 1 is physical health, which is the well-being of your body. Number 2 is emotional health. This is the mental and emotional well-being of yourself. Number 3 is cognitive health. This relates to your cognitive abilities and mental sharpness. Number 4 is social health. This relates to relationships and interactions with others. And the final one is spiritual health. It relates to your beliefs, your values, and your purpose in life. The key to better health is to make an intentional plan about your health. If you're not intentional about your health, it will naturally deteriorate. So formulate a plan to address all 5 areas of your health. So now we move on to key number 2. Set personal and financial goals. This entire key boils down to one word: intention. You must have an intentional vision of the life you most desire. Without a clear and exciting vision of your life, you will end up wherever the wind blows and experience a life much less than it ought to be. This entails having very clear goals for every aspect of your life. Set a vision for your life that is compelling, exciting, and motivates you to jump out of bed every day to pursue it. If the vision of your life isn't like that, it's time to reset and start thinking bigger and bolder. There's 3 essential steps to setting your vision and goals. Step number 1, establish your end goals in 3 key areas that you want for your life. End goals are the true goal you're trying to achieve when you dig deeper and ask the question why repeatedly. Why do you want that goal? And once you answer that, ask again, why? Why is that important? And once you drill down to the deep level, that is your true end goal. You really want to spend 15 minutes setting your end goals in the following 3 categories. So 5 minutes in each area. And don't overthink it. Just think big. I always say go big or go home. Life is too short not to think big and not to shoot for the stars. You really want to do this now before moving on to the other keys, because it is really a foundational thing that gives you the motivation to do it. And if you don't get it done now, you may be tempted not to do it later. So the first area that you want to set your end goals on is experiences. What are all the experiences you want to have in life? These might be relationship experiences, travel experiences, or any other experiences that you want to have. Number 2, growth. Set end goals about your growth. So to become the person who can have the experiences you described, in what ways do you need to grow to accomplish that? And the final area that you want to set end goals for is contribution. In what ways do you want to contribute to others? That could be family, it could be friends, it could be the community or humanity at large. You want to ask yourself the question, if I'm a person who has these great experiences and has grown in these ways, in what way can I contribute to someone or something else other than me? This is ultimately about service. It can be grand or simple, but it's important to set them. And now, step 2 of goals. So now that you've set a vision for your life, it's time to set SMART 3-year goals that will move you toward your vision. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and that's why it's important to tie it to your end goals, because if you set a goal that's not relevant to what you want to achieve in your life, you're not going to have the motivation to do it. And it should be time-based. And I'd like to share with you a quote that says, by recording your dreams and goals on paper, you set in motion the process of becoming the person you most want to be. Put your future in good hands, your own. And this is from Mark Victor Hansen, who is an inspirational speaker and author. So what you want to do is look at your end goals and categorize them into one of the following 5 areas. Do they fall under the category of health? Do they fall under financial? Do they fall under relationships, spiritual, or growth. So those are the 5 areas that you want to categorize your goals: health, financial, relationships, spiritual, or growth. Once you've done that, you want to identify one significant stretch but attainable goal that you can conceivably, but with difficulty, accomplish in each category. Try to select a goal that if you achieve it, it will help you accomplish multiple of your end goals. So if you can set goals that will achieve a number of your end goals, then that's always best. Don't worry about how you can accomplish it right now. It's okay if you don't have any idea of how you're going to get there. Just set the goal. Now follow the same process for the rest of your end goals. Once you've done this, you have your 3-year goals set. You now want to write 2 reasons for each goal why you want to accomplish the goal. Why is it important to you? Next, you want to work in 3-month intervals. You want to write down 5 specific actions or things that you will do in the next 3 months to move you towards each of the 3-year goals that you've set under the 5 categories. Now, please look over your goals and specific strategies every day. So once you've set it, it's important to look at it and review it every single day. It's best to be done at the same time. I generally suggest doing it as part of your early morning routine so that you start your day off with your goals and your actions placed into your conscious and your subconscious mind. What you want to do next is block time in your calendar to execute on these strategies. This is where people often fail. They'll set goals, but then they won't take action towards it, and part of that is that they forget to, and they're not intentional. You want to be intentional about putting time in your calendar to achieve these goals. I'm going to share with you another quote. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks, and then starting on the first one. And this is a quote from Mark Twain. Key number 3, the 5 formulas to grow your practice to 6 million. Growing your practice is formulaic. It's not rocket science. It's frankly grade 3 math. There are 5 formulas that you can utilize to plan your growth and form the foundation for building your $6 million practice. Formula number 1, gross revenue goal is equal to average revenue per new patient times the new patients required. So once you know what your goal is, you can plug that in. And now what you need to know is, okay, what is my average revenue per new patient? And how many new patients do I need to get to this goal? So formula number 2 helps you determine what your average revenue per new patient is. You determine that by taking your total current revenue, so it could be the annual revenue for last year or for year to date, divide that by the current new patients. So again, total new patients of last year, or if it's year to date, whatever new patients you have year to date. When you take that total gross revenue, divide by the new patients, you will get your average revenue per new patient. Once you have this number, you can determine how many new patients you need to achieve your goal, which leads us to formula number 3. The new patients required is your revenue goal that you had set divided by the average revenue per new patient. Once you know how many new patients you need to figure out how much you need to increase your marketing to achieve this goal. So again, the first step is figuring out how many new patients you need. The second step is figuring out how much you need to spend on marketing. If you skip that step, you're not going to achieve your goal. So the first thing you're going to need to know now is how much a new patient currently costs you. This is referred to as the acquisition cost, and that is formula number 4. Your current acquisition cost is equal to your marketing spend divided by the total new patients. So now that you have your acquisition cost, you can plug it into the next formula, which is formula number 5. The marketing spend required is equal to the acquisition cost times the new patients required. And now you just have to set about to spend that marketing. And in future podcasts and in my seminar series, as well as my blogs, I go into more depth in terms of marketing and what to spend your money on marketing. So let's do an example. So if you have a practice doing 1 million in revenue and you set a goal to hit 1.5 million in revenue, your current new patients annually is about 240, and your current marketing spend is annually is 24,000. What you do is take the current average revenue, which is the revenue divided by the new patients. So we take 1 million divided by 240, and that gives us 4167. Our current acquisition cost is $24,000, how much we spend, divided by 240, the number of new patients we got, and that translates into $100 per new patient as our acquisition cost. So if our revenue goal is $1.5 million, the number of new patients required is the revenue goal, 1.5 million, divided by our average revenue per new patient, which is 4167. That gives us 360 new patients. So we need 360 new patients per month to achieve the goal. Now the marketing required that we have to spend is $100, which is our acquisition cost, multiplied by the $360, which we just calculated, which was the total new patients that we need. And that translates to $36,000 annually or $3,000 a month. So now you have your marketing budget. Now I'm going to touch on 5-year projections. It really is essential to create a 5-year projection, one for each year over the next 5 years, to understand the roadmap and the investments required to achieve your goal. You want to grow at a rapid rate, but not necessarily so rapidly that your systems, processes, and people can't keep up. What I find to be a good number is about 750,000 per year, up to a max of about 1 million per year. So if we use the number 750,000, and so let's say that if you have a $1 million practice, it will roughly take 6 to 7 years to reach the 6 million mark. So on year 0, when you start, you're at 1 million. Year 1, it's 1.75 million. Year 2, 2.25. Year 3, 3 million. Year 4, 3.75. Year 5, 4.5. Year 6, 5.25. Year 7, 6 million. So now we're going to move on to key number 4, new patients, and how to get the importance of getting more new patients. New patients, I cannot understate the importance or overstate the importance of new patients. New patients are the lifeblood of your practice. You cannot grow and survive without them. To increase the number of new patients, you must first establish a solid foundation, the phone training. Some important facts to consider. Likely more than 50% of new patients who call your office are not being scheduled because your front desk are not adequately trained to handle and convert them. 99% of dental offices do not train their teams in proper techniques to increase this conversion. You absolutely must have your team trained professionally to convert a high percentage of calls into appointments. For my practices, I conduct a phone training with the Scheduling Institute every year. Once you've established the phone training and a regular audit system, you can move towards the marketing piece. Now, when you have established the phone training and your team are trained and you're focusing on marketing, the first thing that you want to do is focus on internal marketing. Most dentists can't resist the sexiness of external marketing. They want to be on the big billboard. They want to be on TV and on the radio. They want to run Facebook ads and Google ads, but they make the mistake of jumping right into this. This is absolutely the wrong approach. Focus internally first. You want to increase your referrals. Your top source of new patients are typically your existing patients, who often refer others through word of mouth. Referrals are also your best new patients because they are already pre-sold on you, so they will give you the benefit of the doubt and are more inclined to say yes to treatment proposals. It is imperative that you focus on internal marketing first to boost your referrals. The most likely time for a patient to refer someone to your office is after their first visit. This is when they are most enthusiastic and most inclined to refer. They're also the most inclined to negatively tell others about it if it's been a bad experience. This is why the first visit needs to be a wow experience that they don't get anywhere else. The number one way to maximize these referrals is to create a new patient experience that includes a tour and a gift. I highly recommend getting the new patient experience training from Scheduling Institute to train you and your team on how to do this effectively. Once a great new patient experience is established, you can then focus on existing patients. Keys to increase referrals by improving your patient experience. There are several keys. One is to do patient appreciation events. 2, patient gift days. You can do referral contests if it's permitted in your jurisdiction. I would be doing thank you cards to the patients that refer to you, and again, if permitted, giving them a gift card. Focus on your beverage center. Make sure that you have a beverage center and that you have nice, healthy snacks as well as coffee. Hire a hostess, someone that greets patients when they come in. Make sure you have a clean, modern, and well-maintained facility. Focus on wait times, make sure they're short. And one of the most critical things is hire only team members who are customer service oriented rather than self-service oriented. Ultimately, the more you serve your patients and the community, the more referrals you will get. Once you've focused on the internal referrals and you've got good systems in place, you can turn your attention to external marketing. With an established practice, you should expect to receive 45 to 65% of your new patients from internal sources. For recent startups, you will initially rely more heavily on external marketing, but this should shift towards internal marketing after a couple of years. I would certainly put internal marketing in right away, but you are going to spend a lot more money. More of your budget is going to go towards external because you need to start getting people in the door who will then be able to refer. If you're established and are not approaching 50%, you need to improve your internal marketing. In order of priority, once you turn to external marketing, this is where you would want to invest in. Number 1, great big signage, especially on your building. Number 2, a great website. Number 3, focus on Google Places or Google My Business. Make sure that that's well established. Number 4, focus on increasing patient reviews. Number 5, SEO optimization to increase organic rankings. Number 6, Facebook and Google ads. Number 7, direct mail, but only if you're in a small town or rural markets. What I found is that it's ineffective or the cost is way too high in terms of how many new patients you get in urban centers. Number 8, influencer marketing. Number 9, TikTok videos. Number 10, television. Number 11, radio. And when I say TikTok videos, that would also include Instagram posting and Facebook posting. And I'm going to focus now on the final key for today's podcast. We will continue the other keys with the next podcast. So this is key number 5, which is average revenue per new patient. This is a reflection of your case acceptance rate. Increasing revenue relies on two metrics: new patients and average revenue per new patient. In this particular key, this fifth key, we will discuss the second half of this formula, increasing average revenue. There are two basic components that contribute to average revenue: the size of the purchase, as well as the frequency of visits. So what influences the size of purchase? Well, the size of purchase basically refers to the idea that patients do more than they just come in for the exam. So they're not just coming for the exam and the checkup. Now, if you convert the exam to a hygiene appointment and perform any necessary work, both basic and significant, then the amount spent per patient increases. So that means their average spend increases. When you do this, it increases your average revenue per new patient metric, hence your overall revenue. Now, the following are key factors that determine whether you can do more treatment on patients and boost this number. Number one, recommending additional treatment. Most dentists and hygienists significantly underpresent treatment that patients either want, need, or could benefit from. Number two, so you want to present more. Number two, patient trust. Have you intentionally developed a high level of trust with your patient? Are you intentionally employing the 6 principles of influence in your practice to establish that level of trust? You want to establish that trust and confidence right from the outset. The 6 principles of influence are based on the book from Robert Cialdini titled Persuasion, the Science of Influence. The 6 principles are reciprocity, liking, social proof, authority, scarcity, and commitment. It's vital to have a thorough understanding of the 6 principles of influence if you want to develop high trust with your patients. I do recommend Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. Number 3, a high case acceptance rate will boost your average revenue per new patient. Your team's effectiveness in case acceptance is critical to boosting the size of patient purchases. Tracking case acceptance overall for the practice, as well as for individual providers, is also very important. Whatever you track will improve. If you don't track, you won't improve. So start tracking to establish baselines. Then you can set goals to improve the case acceptance. One common practice metric that most practice management software tracks is the annual revenue per active patient. The higher the number, the higher the size of purchase. Examine this number, track it, and establish goals to improve it. This is an easy metric to track that doesn't require any additional effort or tracking. Number 4, team education. It's essential to regularly educate your team on all the procedures performed in the office, and also educate them on the benefits to patients from these treatments. If your team doesn't believe in the value of what you do, then the patients won't either. The 5th is patient education. Ongoing, regular patient education is key to helping patients understand the value of your various offers for their health. So now we're going to touch on the other component that helps increase average revenue per new patient, which is the frequency of visits. Frequency of visits refers to the frequency at which a patient returns for regular routine visits, as well as any treatment that's recommended that they're coming back for. All the 5 factors mentioned above play a role in increasing the frequency of visits. In addition, implementing a system to convert all new patients to hygiene appointments, especially emergency exams, is important. It's also important to have a system to follow up on patients who haven't booked subsequent appointments, and a system to book all hygiene patients for their next visit in the operatory before they leave. The following factors also influence your average revenue per new patient by impacting both the size of purchase as well as the frequency of visits. Number 1, patient experience. The patient's overall experience will have a significant impact on whether they follow through on treatment or even stay with your practice. You must track your patient retention rates, as this is the best indicator of how well you're doing in this regard and how much stickiness your patients have with your practice. There is a normal attrition rate that occurs due to death and individuals moving out of the area. This is typically roughly around 10% of your active patient base per year. Number 2, team experience. If the team experience is poor, including having a poor culture, this will have a negative impact on your average revenue, as patients will pick up on the vibe. That discomfort will cause them to be less likely to accept treatment. They are also more likely to leave. Furthermore, team members will not be inclined to try to convert patients. Culture is king. Ignore it at your peril. Number 3, increased scope of services. The more variety of services you offer, the higher your average revenue per new patient will be. Look at strategies to bring in more services in-house. So that is the end of this podcast. Next time, I will touch on the next 4 keys to complete the 9 keys to growing your practice to $6 million. Please make sure to follow $6 Million Dental Practice on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and go to our YouTube site, where you'll find various resources that will help you to grow your practice. If you have any questions or would like more information, please go to our website, www.6million.ca, or you could email me at Dr. Yazdani, that's DrYazdani, at 6 million, that's the number 6, and then million, million.ca. I'll see you all next time.